Hello everybody, our usual Friday, me Chris at Pro-Am. Today we're going to talk about footwear in boxing. Boots and socks, which I think are good, bad and why, and the ugly, and why, you know, you should buy a good pair of boots, the best your feet can afford, to be fair. I'll start off with the socks actually. Now these socks, we sell them in different colours. They're good old fashioned grip socks. As you can see, they have the rubber grips on the soles. These are a nice bright orange. You know, get them in any colour you like basically. The rules state in amateur boxing you have to wear a pair of socks under your boots. Professional boxing, doesn't really matter. Now these are like a compression type to help the circulation in your feet. The reason I recommend these, because you're, especially amateur boxers, you're on your toes and you're moving about all the time. A cheap pair of socks and an ill-fitting pair of boots, you will end up with blisters. And the last thing you need when you're boxing is blisters on your feet. These prevent that with them being the grip socks, because they grip the inside of the sole of your boot. So always try and buy something like this. There's other sports socks, like a football sock or something like that, but with the nylon material in that kind of sock, just one pair of socks, you'll still get blisters. Good old army trick that we learned, if you prefer that kind of sock, wear two pairs. Stop that again, will help not get blisters. Right, starting off with the boots. Most people will have seen these. We sell these because they come in smaller sizes for boxing. They're actually a wrestling boot. A lot of boxers like the low ankle because that's the way they prefer the boots rather than a higher leg. Now, wrestling boots are there for grip, so they're going to be pushing on the mat, and they're mostly on the knees and hands and lower, you know, low body shape, pushing and pulling on wrestling. These are not designed really for boxing. The reason you have a boxing boot is to support your ankle. A genuine good boxing boot should be very light, flat sole, good grip with good ankle support. A wrestling boot just comes on your heel, and I've seen it done many a times. Boxers will end up with a dislocation of the ankle or a broken ankle because the boot is low and it's not sufficiently protecting their ankle. Now, there is low versions of boxing boots which are very good. These rival ones, these are good boots. I like these. We sell a lot of these. Yeah, a very well made boot. Good value for money. This is the new version of this one, the Genesis. It comes in the grey, black and white. I don't know if they do the red anymore. It's a little bit higher, so you're getting your ankle support. It's nice and wide fitting, so it's not a narrow boot, which some people say they don't like. It's got a good grip and a good sole. It's not very light, but it's light enough. It is a heavier boot. Not the heaviest, by the way. Their other model, the Pro model, is a heavier kind of boot. This comes in black and gold, black and silver, etc. Again, it's got a good grip on the sole. This is the Pro model. It's a good fit. It's not expensive. It's again, it's got like, it'll suit broad feet, so it's a good boot. One thing I do like about Rival, they cater for the youngsters. Now they do these in several colours. They've got the black and grey, which is the new colour. The white and blue. They do a white and red, and the original colour is black and red and white. We've got them in stock here anyway. But these are a lovely boot for the kids to start off in. They start in about a size 1, I think. So, but they have a good hard wearing sole, so there's no misuse, because the kids will train in them and probably go running in them when they're not supposed to, etc. They're a nice light boot. They've got plenty of ankle support, and they're very cheap. The last thing you want to do when you're buying your kids boxing boots is they're all going to look at the top of the range boots for 180 quid, and you're thinking you'll have one contest, get punched in the nose and pack it in, and I've wasted 180 quid. These lovely boots, no matter what colour or what size, I think they got up to a size 5 or a 4, 45 quid, £45. That is a bargain for a bloody good boot for kids, and it's a good functional boot. I like them, really good boot. Now, Adidas boots have been around the longest as far as I know. We stock quite a lot of these. We have done since we've been going for 20 odd years. This is the standard model. It's called the Box Hog 2. Again, it's very, very light. It's got a nice thin sole on it. It's a great boot for a starter if you prefer this kind of boot. It's just a basic Adidas boxing boot. That's what it is. Again, I think these start at about £60, so a very good boot, good value for money. If you're not sure, get one of these. The one after that came was the Box Hog 3, which is this one with like a dimply material in, good quality. Again, a little bit more expensive because it's nicer material. These did come in few. We've got a few pairs left, just white pair, this blue pair. It's now an older model. This is the Box Hog 3. Good standard boxing boot for not just for beginners. A lot of top pros will wear them. It's a good solid lightweight boot with a good ankle protection. They've moved on now to the Box Hog 4, which is this lovely lightweight material. As you can see, it's pretty breathable. This model has this lovely fancy sole. I don't know quite why it's like that, but the boot itself is a lovely lightweight boot. It comes in different colours. Obviously you've got the white. This is the Wonder Blue, which is a nice colour. They do another white with a bit of lilac and pink on it. A navy blue and silver, and a black, gold and silver stripes. Lovely. This is probably the most popular boot that we do. Everyone likes it. The only criticism I've ever heard of these is they are a little bit narrow, so if you've got wide feet, these are not for you. Apart from that, like I say, probably you can't go wrong with the Adidas boots. They've been going 75 years at least. Even when I was a kid, they were about. I couldn't afford them, unfortunately, and my dad couldn't. But for me, these are the best. Lovely lightweight boots. Not expensive. For a boxing boot, these retail at about £90. Which I think is reasonable these days. You're going to pay that for a football boot or anything else of that similar ilk. The top of the range boot is this beauty. Again, it's lovely and light, made of breathable materials. It's lined. It's got slightly higher up the Achilles at the back and this Achilles protecting heel here. They come in several colours. This is the Speed X Ultra. It's the new top of the range boot. Now this is expensive because I would imagine it's got a lot of technology in the torsion and the instep and everything. It comes in several colours. It comes in the white. You do a white one with this sole on it. Same boot but with that sole. You do a khaki, a blue and silver, a black and gold, and they do a very dark green and black with this bit orange on it, which is an entry model, which is about £30 cheaper than these ones. Now the recommended retail on these is £180, although we don't charge that. We charge a little bit under to get them on the market. They're very dark green and with the black stripes. The entry model is about £150. But these are a very, very good boot, very supportive, good ankle protection, nice and light, good grip. That's the Adidas. Now we don't deal with Nike anymore. I hope Nike are watching this because they're very, very hard to deal with. When you get problems with their equipment, it's hard to get any sense out of them to get replacements, and it is expensive for what they are. They're really expensive boots, considering they're probably all made in the same area of the world. So we don't deal with them at the minute because we've had problems with them in the past. Now, we do deal with another company, or we have been doing for a few years, called Adams. These are Adams they're actually made in Mexico, but Carlos, who owns the company, he's an American chap. This is one of their boots. Now these are the lightest boots on the market. They come in several different colours. They're very, very comfortable. They do this and they do the Pro model, which is a bit higher, and it has two Velcro straps, one across the toe, one across the ankle. Some of them come with a trainer sole on. I'm sorry I've got on to show you, I've sold out to be honest, but these are hard to get hold of. But they're worth every penny. They're really, really good boots. Like I say, we've been dealing with them for a couple of years now. We've been the sole distributor for the UK. Even I can't get on it in a minute, so I don't know whether Carlos is speaking to me anymore, but they're a good boot. Now, for years we've had our own brand of boots. We used to have ours made in the UK. A company in Northampton. They're still going. We can still get them if we need them. We used to have they were like a Camberell material. It was called a breathable material. We used to get them in various colours. They sold really well because it's like a starter boot for new people kicking off. And then they did a leather version, which we will still get special order in various colours. And they used to do a lower leather boot called a Tyson boot, which was very popular when Mike Tyson was boxing. They're UK made of our older boots. Now in the last few years we've tried different companies to get different kinds of boots, and I'm finding it difficult. We thought we'd found a person, a Chinese company making boots. We advertised them the last few months saying this is going to be our new boot, and things didn't work out, unfortunately. We had another company step in and say they would supply our boots, which we were doing a run of, but I will show you now. This is the boot. Now, it's very similar to a Nike boot. Now, the factory obviously owns the design, not Nike. They've offered us this boot at a reasonable price. It's very, very well made all over. I didn't inquire about different. I just wanted just the plain white with the grey, and you can add whatever colour laces you like to it. Now it's very similar to Nike's top of the range boot. Some of the feedback we've had is people think it's a beautiful boot and they can't wait till we get it in stock. It's got this protection and it's this nice and it's that nice. We've had one or two people saying it's a rip-off of a Nike boot. Well, actually it isn't. About 20 years ago, Adidas brought out a boot that was their top of the range boot. It was called the Adistar 1, and it came in like a white with a bit of pearl in it and black here, and it was like this, similar, but instead of a tongue it's like a neoprene sock what you put your foot into for security. It secures the ankle and the foot all in one. That's the idea of this boot. Now basically the Nike boot is just a variation of the original Adistar boot, which they stopped making maybe 20 years ago. And I've always thought, for some reason, why they stopped that must have been madness, because it was the most popular boot they ever did. It was perfect. The only difference in the Adistar boot to this boot is you could turn it down and turn it into a lower boot or a higher boot. You had that option. So people wore it both ways. So we're still thinking about getting this boot in, giving it a run, see how it goes. It's not a cheap boot to make. It's a very good, like I say, it's a very good boot, and it's very similar to a Nike boot. Going back to other things that we've done in the past, we did these for kids in a few different colours. Now, you can get boots made in various parts of the world. The Adams are made in Mexico. Adidas, Rival, Nike and everything, they're usually made in the Far East, or you can get UK made boots. A lot of the time, because a lot of boxing gear is made in Sialkot in Pakistan, they've started making boots now, and this is the kind of thing you get from Pakistan. It's okay. I'll show you some more shortly. They're okay, they are what they are. We got these just for kids in little sizes, so they didn't have to just pay out and buy them. I mean, we were selling these for 20 quid a pair, just so the little fellas could feel the part and look good and look, you know, train hard in the gym, think they're real, you know, look forward to when they're getting old enough to be able to compete. We did them in several colours, blue, red, green and white. They were dead popular, still got a few pairs left. We've been selling them for £15 just to get shut of them. But that's the standard you're getting made in Pakistan. Also, we get a lot of samples from Pakistan given to us all the time, as in gloves and things like that. The gloves go into the gym, they get tested. 9 times out of 10 they don't last too long, so they get binned. Now the boots we've had lately as samples are like this. Now, I don't know, I'm not sure if they're a copy of somebody else's boot. They could be. I'm not sure. But we got some of these as samples in a couple of different colours. They are what they are. They are cheap boots. They're not, obviously these days most people buy, they don't care what the boot feels like when it's on. If it's got 3 stripes on it or a swoosh, they'll buy it. Whether it takes the skin off their feet every time they use it, because it's a fashion item, they will use it. These probably work okay. They don't look too good. They're not too heavy, but they're a 30 quid boot. They are what they are. If you haven't got the money to pay £100 for these and £90 for them, that's probably good for you if you're starting out. If you're doing a charity fight on the white collar circuit, get a pair of them. But that's the kind of thing you're getting made in Pakistan. I think basically these plastic parts are very plasticky. They're not like the synthetics you get on other boots made in China, like this kind of stuff is good quality synthetics. This is just cheap plastic. So they are what they are. Another one we get copies of is Nike's older boot, the Hyper KO. Now a lot of companies use these, put their logo on, they'll sell them, but again they're made in Pakistan. The plastic is plastic. It's, in fact, the more I look at that boot, it's similar materials to that boot, and it's similar in other ways. So it is what it is, but it's got that strap over there. Reebok did that, they're the first ones to do that. Helps pull in the wide boot if you've got wide feet, just to fit it better. Yeah, the Reebok ones are the first ones. Reebok made a run of boots. Adidas bought them out and we never seen them again. But again, they are what they are. They're a 30 quid boot. In fact, the more I look at that boot, and that boot, the soles are identical. So they're obviously going to the same market supplier for soles, materials, etc. And different factories made them. Again, for 30 quid, if you're having a charity fight or you can't afford to buy something expensive, ideal. Really, I wish they hadn't put my logo on them, because I don't like, this is not for me. I would never buy them in bulk and produce them, put it that way. I would stick with the Chinese manufacturers or the Far East manufacturers for boots. As you can see, like I say, the Pakistani ones, I'm getting inundated at the minute with Pakistani companies asking me to buy fly boots. Now fly boots is similar design to this, not exactly the same, it's their own design-ish, from China or the Far East. Our friends at Selcott, they copy everything that's popular, and at the minute I'm getting bombarded with pictures of those boots off the Alibaba site saying buy these boots off us for £30, and you know they're not going to look like the original. When they come, they probably look like that but in flies colours. Please never buy copies. You'll know this by now. You go on eBay and you can buy Grant gloves for 30 quid. We all know Grant gloves are made in Mexico and they cost £1,000. They cost £1,000 for a reason. You're not going to buy a brand new pair of those for 30 quid. Similarly, you see winning sparring sets for £110 or so. £110 for a brand new set of winning, you'd have to be crazy to think you're getting a bargain like that. You're looking at £400 for the gloves, £350 for the head guard, and £280 for the groin guard. If it's genuine Japanese winning, not £110 for the set. Like I say, eBay's flooded with them. And now we're getting they're not just copying the gloves and the headgear, they're copying boots and everything else now, so be very, very careful. Like I always say, you get what you pay for. A good pair of boots. Don't buy what your mate's got because they look nice or they're fashionable or they're made by a big brand. 9 times out of 10 they're all made in the same cheap factory in the Far East. Like I said to you before, I know what it costs to make a boxing glove. So when somebody sells you a glove that's made in China of synthetic leather and it's 190 quid or 200 quid, it actually costs £7 to make. There's £7 for a reason, it's cheap. Just because it has a big brand name on it doesn't mean it's great. Same with the boots. Like I say, they're all made in the same factories. Like this, it's made in the same factory as big brand names. I get offered them all. Being in business so long, every kind of good expensive boots you see, that factory will contact people like me and say, can we put your logo on these as well? Buy what's the best comfortable for you. It's got to be nice and light, it's got to have good ankle protection. Most of all, it's got to have good ankle protection, because there's nothing worse than trying to stand up on your bottom of your bones and your foot's flipped underneath. I've seen it done. Good ankle protection, good grip, nice and light. That's what they've got to be. Lovely and comfortable. Don't get them if they're too narrow. If you've got wide feet, find the kind of boots that fits you with the broader foot. Get the best you can afford. Don't be a sheep. Don't buy what's fashionable. Fashion changes all the time. Same as everything else. Boxing. In a few months' time or a few years' time, all these boots may be old-fashioned and nobody wear them anymore. A few years ago, it was always fashionable to have higher boots. Nobody uses them anymore. I think Adidas were called Champ Speed. They were maybe, I would say, a good 3 or 4 inches higher than those. And they were the boots everybody wanted. Now nobody will touch them because they're a high boot, they're out of fashion. So maybe you think you're buying the latest thing, it gets stopped getting made, and nobody wears that kind of boots anymore, so they'll wear something totally different. Don't get stuck in fashion. Buy what's best for yourself, the best you can afford, the best fitting boots, and get the right socks as well. The last thing you need is blisters on your feet. Hope you've got this one and you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, pass our name on to other people to watch, and leave us your comments. What's your best boots? Do you think such and such a boot's too heavy, too low, not comfy enough? What do you think of these factories that ring up with the copies? I don't like them personally. I think it's bad news. Everybody copies out what we do anyway, but let us know, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.